Have you ever wondered what would happen if you were shrunk down and had to survive 100 days in the garden? Well, me neither, but it happened to me. And this is my story of how I spent 100 days surviving in grounded. Enjoy. Day one starts with us waking up in a briefcase. And I'm lost, I'm confused, I don't know where we are. But we start by picking up some stuff off the floor. We're picking up plant fibres, we're picking up sprigs, pebbles, we're picking up the lot, even some mushrooms. Kids, I don't advise picking up mushrooms. But then we need to analyse everything we've found so we can use this analyzer to discover what we can make with the stuff we are picking up. So we analyse everything we find and that gets our brain power up. Obviously we are getting smart, we want that big brain energy. And then we go back round looking for more stuff to collect and also looking for science equipment. Because obviously we need to figure out what is going on where we are. So we make an axe and we find our first ant. This is the first creature we've come across and I didn't know if we were going to get attacked, but lucky enough we didn't. But we find the mysterious machine. We don't know what it is, and we don't know what it is for, but we are intrigued. So we have a look around inside, see if there's anything that we can use, until finally we get to the top of it, and we press the button. But shock, it doesn't work. We've got a leaf blocking a laser, we've got one that's not working properly. Can this day get any worse? Lucky enough we're smart, we're able to chop down the grass, and we've got one more laser pointing at where it needs to go. And then we find the final one, and we see that there's lawn mites all over the wire and they're chewing at it, and this is why it's not working properly. I really hope these lawn mites didn't have, a family and kids and that, because we just took out the whole, family tree there. We made a torch so we can see, and we got ourselves in before getting some water, because drinking dirty water, it ain't for us. But we're able to activate the machine, and now it works. But is it going to work properly? No, it actually blows up, and doesn't go great. So once we see this, we realise we need to make our way to the tree, but on the way there we decided to do a bit of exploring. We actually found our first bit of raw science, and then we're actually able to find some mints. We're not able to get them just yet, which is a shame because, I want a mint. And then we find the Tropico Puncho, and we're able to have a drink and get some good energy. And then we go inside of the tree, thinking, oh, a wolf spider, I can take this on easy. I regret it straight away. Look at that health. It was gone. 2 hits, I'm dead. And that's the end of day one. Day two, we're back at the research centre, and we have to sneak and get our stuff. We were not messing with them spiders. We realised they were bad, but we found where the explosion led to, and we found a lab inside the tree. So obviously this is concerning. Is this going to be bad people? Is it going to be good people? Are they going to be friendly? Are they going to offer us a way home? We don't know. But obviously we put on a brave face. We did what we shouldn't do and pressed the big red button, and we've discovered the Oak Lab. In there we were able to see screens showing us different labs, and we actually found a robot called Burgle. I mean, it's not a name I'd give to a robot, but Burgle, we spoke to him anyway, and he told us that his memory wasn't all there and something has happened. So what we need to do is scan our hand on this machine, giving us access to the lab. Then Burgle told us we needed to get him a super chip to restore his memory, so that was our main task, because with all these memory chips we would be able to find a way home and find a way to get him back to our normal size, because we don't want to say, as a small, shrunken down person living in a garden for long, we made a lean-to and called it a night. Day 3, we wake up nice and early and we check the map to see where we are and where we need to go to find our first super chip. But first, before we do anything, we've got some crafting to do. We make a workbench and we start crafting straight away. We decide we're going to need a hammer because we're going to be able to break stuff with that, and we're also going to need some armour. We also made a spear, and then we made a fire so we could actually cook some of this food that we'd got, because every time we'd killed an animal, we were actually getting some meat off them, and we couldn't eat it raw. We've got to cook. You got to let me cook. We then decide to explore inside this can to see it's kind of empty. It's not great, but we do find a scab. And at the time I didn't know what these were, but they're like skins for the watch on the bottom left or the menu. But we're actually able to find another field station, and these are plotted all over the map, all over the place, and these were quite good because we were able to go there and analyse any resources we got. And when you analyse, it increases your brain power, and every time you increase your brain power, you want to unlock new stuff and higher tier, equipment. But anyway, we get in a fight with just a baby spider, and it almost kills us straight away. I died so much in this game, it was difficult. I was so close to just quitting at one point because the game was doing my head in. I thought, there's no way I'm finishing this, there is no way I'm completing it, but I never realised how important having good armour and weapons were going to be in this game. But as you can see, we did a bit of exploring and we came across some big, scary creatures that we did not want to mess with. We were not ready for any of that. Day 4 came around and we made our way across the water to do a bit of exploring. What can go wrong? Mosquitoes. Look at them. They sucked your blood and regained health, and 2 hits off them and we were nearly dead. We had to eat food and run. But we carried on exploring and we found some important materials that were able to help us actually increase our weapons and our armour. And yes, we're not the only acorn enjoyers in the garden. There's squirrels and there's us. We were almost ready to make the smithing station, but we were just one thing shy. So we went out searching for this material, and we found a gold tooth. And we were thinking, well, we can't break it yet. What is this going to be used for? And then we found the Frankenline machine, which is... what were them old games that you used to be able to draw the lines, but you could do that. I mean, I had a quick go. I didn't really do much on it. Somebody's probably made something incredible, but that is not me. I'm not creative enough or do have the time or effort. But then we raised a flag on top of some stones. We carried on day 5 with exploring to find a bunch of dead ants, and we were, a bit shocked at first until we realised we actually went into a poisonous area. And we were seeing stink bugs going off, there was dead animals, and animals with fungus growing on them. And we were not messing with them, we were staying well clear because they are difficult. So we decided we needed some water, and we went out, carried on, and found some more stuff that we could analyse to make more armour, usual stuff that we need, as well as some furniture, which, we're never actually going to make. Then I did the smart thing, what anyone should do. If you see a sketchy cave, go inside, and if you see baby spiders, kill them, because there's not going to be a big spider there waiting for you. Obviously not. But obviously we had to do the smart thing and go inside and explore before getting murdered again by a wolf spider. I'm just going to warn you now, we die a lot, but to take out our anger, we decided to kill a weevil. We decided to slaughter a few, and then we found a ladybug and realised we could actually... it's called peep, but you're using your hands, it ain't doing it, you ain't got binoculars. But we use our hands to have a bit of a closer look at the animals, we grab our stuff and we think, you know what, we're away from that spider, it ain't gonna get us, let's kill a few babies. No, we are dead again. Told you, we're dying a lot. I think at the end we died something like 40 times. I couldn't help it. Honestly, I was so bad at the start of this game. It just happened so much. I was dying left, right and centre. But we finally made our way towards the first super chip area. And we managed to get up into a tree using some big hedge scissors. Analyse a few things that we found before ascending the tree even further. So climbing the tree actually wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. I was worried that I was going to end up falling off and dying, but lucky enough, we've got zip lines, there was mushrooms we could use, and a bunch of different little labs all over that we could, walk through. But we had these robots that we had to kill, and they were sort of difficult when they were grouped up, but by themselves they weren't too bad. But as we delved deeper, we actually found a big switch, some weird granola bars, and we were able to access the survey scanner. I'm not gonna lie, I barely used it. I didn't think it was that good. Pretty much you could just put what you was looking for and it'd ping it on the map where it is, but it seemed to not work that well. But day 7, we had more spiders to kill. Just the spiderlings though. Lucky enough there were no big spiders. We had to just kill the baby ones and we were able to get through them quite simple. But then we started finding loot, and I love some loot. But ziplining away again, and we are delving further and further, higher and higher, into these caves, this tree, and looking through, trying to find this key card we're finding so that, Burgle can get his memory. But as you can see, I kind of stumbled into like a spider's nest, and I soon turned away and ran when I saw the size of the spider up in the ceiling. But we have finally found a way into the sort of lab looking area. We're getting closer, things were looking more and more like the correct area we needed to be. So we zip-lined into the actual hedge and realised that we had to scan our hand and then we had to put the password in. Well, we didn't have the password, so we had to explore around and try and find the password. And when I was editing this, I missed the password so many times. They're just big sheets of paper that are ripped up. I walked past them about 5-6 times. But we had many robots to deal with. They were all over the lab, and so were spiders. And it wasn't fun. It was not an enjoyable couple of days trying to find these passwords and trying not to fall out the tree. But, you know, we finally got it done, and we were able then to actually find all the password pieces and get the lab activated. And as you can see, we're getting a lot of this raw science, and it is quite useful later on in the game. Right now, it is not that useful. But as we, you know, progress and get further on, you'll notice that it is something we can use quite a lot. We're actually able to like duplicate items with the raw science, as well as like buy like different recipes so we can like have different stuff and make our own zip lines and stuff to defend our base if we need to do that. But we actually were able to find what we needed, and we attempted to make our way back before falling out the tree and dying. But we're back at our base, we've got our stuff, and then we start cooking some food and sort of, you know, putting a bit of storage because we had a full inventory, and we finally made what we needed so we could get the smithing station going, so we could actually improve our weapons and make them do more damage as well as, you know, being more durable, because they were breaking way too quick and way too often. And then we was actually able to find another one of these burgle flags. I'm not actually too sure what they do other than give raw science, but they sort of seem important because, you know, they're around. But as you can see, we're putting in the super duper disc, which then now allows us to duplicate items, and there's a limit on it, so you can't just duplicate the rarest items in the game and, you know, hope to do that. As you can see, there's, you know, only a certain amount you can do, but as you progress and the more super chips you find, you're able to do that. But I've returned back to where I was calling home to see that there's a bunch of mosquitoes that are now living there. They've taken over my home, they're sleeping in my bed, they're eating my food. So we kill a tadpole because why not, and explore the water a little bit. And yes, there's spiders in the water, why wouldn't there be? I mean, it's just what they do. There's spiders everywhere. But again, we analysed a few things that we found in the water, and we can see we can make fin flops. So we're actually able to swim faster because we swam so slow and ran out of air so often. It was so annoying. But back on dry land, we were killing every weevil we saw before making a new bed so we could sleep the night away. Early morning, day 13, we were still asleep, but we were having a strange dream. It was like we were having flashbacks to, you know, a past life, or, you know, something we don't remember. And we've got a bunch of scientists looking at us, shooting big lasers at us, and, you know, is this what made us small? Are these the people that put us in the garden, that, you know, ruined our life? I had a good thing going back home. When I was normal size, I had loads of women, I had, you know, stuff going on. I was playing World of Warcraft. Like, you know, what if people, you know, don't invite me to raids anymore because I was missing? But we soon forgot about it once we started some more exploring, and again, we were looking in deep caves, we were looking at new areas, hoping to find some good stuff, and hoping to find these new chips, because we didn't know where they were. I mean, they kind of showed on the map, but if you went to them, it was never the actual location. But again, we died. I mean, like I said, we're going to die a lot, we do. The Red Ant soldiers, they were kind of strong at this point, and they were able to kill us quite quick. But we managed to take them out without dying again. We were sort of picking up the whole combat, and sort of, you know, my many hours of Elden Ring has started to help me, because we were starting to learn, you know, when to block, when to dodge, and also when to avoid stink bugs. The next morning, we're back to analysing. We do this obviously quite often, because every new item we get, we have to analyse to make sure we know what we can do with it and unlock new recipes. But we're back to killing the weevil and the lawn-mite population. We are getting them numbers low. They ain't surviving in this garden. This is our garden now, until a big spider comes and kills us. But that isn't our fault. I mean, look at them. They're fast, they're quick, and they shoot webs, and it's scary. And we are now actually homeless. I mean, the mosquitoes stole our home, and we need somewhere to live. So we found this nice little area on top of a can and thought, you know what, let's call it home. It's near the big tree, it's near the lab, it's something, you know, where we can sit comfortably and, you know, be protected. So we build a couple of stairs, you know, so we're high up off the ground before putting some flooring in. We then proceed to spend the rest of the day cutting down grass so we can get the grass planks to build the rest of the floor in. So we actually have room to put down everything we need and all our storage and workbenches and smithing station and cooking stuff, because there's quite a lot of stuff you end up needing. And with this, we actually put down some grass storage so we can put it all on, and it means we're not running back and forth because you can only carry 5 at a time. So we fill both of these up, and we actually carry on by putting them all down, and it's a lot easier than carrying. This has obviously taken a couple of days to do. It was, you know, a long time of just collecting grass, but now we had the flooring down and we had a bit of storage, so we could actually, you know, place our items into the storage chest and not just be running around with a bunch of random stuff that we didn't need. We then decided to build a cooking station so we can get the meat on from all the weevils that we were slaughtering, and then we decided to make a spiral staircase because why not? They look cool. But we needed our old stuff back. We had to try and face the mosquitoes and grab what we can and get out of there, and I had a good idea of thinking if I can fill my bag quick enough and then die, I can just pick the bag up and run. It kind of didn't go too well, but you know, we were back and forth, we grabbed what we could, we made sure we got everything, and we ran away. And this time, we didn't die as quick, but we still died. And this time we finally made it out. Didn't actually think I was going to survive at this one because we were down to literally nothing health-wise, but we were able to run away, get back to our base and put all our stuff into storage, as well as building everything we needed to build. So we placed down the smithing station, checked on our equipment, and then needed to go get some more weeds. But it didn't go well. Again, we ran into spiders, stink bugs, and there was nothing we could do without a gas mask, and we did not have the right materials at that point. So we managed to sneak up, grab the weeds that we needed, and was able to carry on building our spiral staircase and a few of the walls that we had built. We then improved our armour to acorn armour, because, you know, we needed something that was actually going to protect us. You know, grass armour just wasn't doing it, but we were able to build the underwater daggers. We get some of this eld grass and gather some algae, because, you know, ultimately we're going to have to find the lab under the water, and it was just too difficult to stay alive when you had, you know, no breath and you just were slow and getting killed by spiders left, right and centre. It was just an awkward time. But we did find a cool little trick. If you killed the water bottomman, it actually gave you some oxygen, so, you know, you could kill a bunch of them and stay alive. But there's nothing you can do when a massive fish come and eats you. We then discovered parts of the lab that was open to us later on, but, you know, we wanted to get in there now. We needed to figure out where we were going and how we were going to get into this lab so we can get the stuff that we need. But we managed to find some clay. We hadn't used clay at this point, and clay was going to be used for cookers and for grinders, and obviously we're going to want these in the future. And, you know, it's just good to have as well. And obviously we can build like flooring and furniture, but again, we're not too bothered. We're not into decorating in this game. This game is about survival. So we built our first spinner, and with this we're able to make web fibre into silk rope, and that again is going to be useful. It's a useful resource. We're going to need it for a lot of stuff in the future, and I wish I actually had a bunch of it in reserve, but I was never that smart because I never knew I was going to need it as much. We then collected all the silk rope we had made, built some fin flops, and then built a gill tube so we could breathe underwater with more oxygen. Well, you're not breathing underwater, you know what I mean? It pretty much went from like 40 oxygen to 80, so we were underwater double the time and we were twice as quick. And we were actually able to find the cave now, and in Depth's Mouth is where the next lab was going to be. And we were quite lucky not to die. We got right to the end, and I was worried for a second, thinking if we don't find some oxygen soon, things are going to go bad. We were able to unlock the lab, get inside, and actually find some fresh air. There was some fresh loot for us to grab because we're always about that loot, and then we tried to turn on the power grid and realised the batteries weren't working, so we had to kill a couple of robots and get back out into the water and find out how we can turn the power on. So once collecting all the loot in the place, we jumped back into that water and we looked for anything that we could use, you know, to power up. And these were quite simple to find. I mean, they had a big light on, There were 3 of them. It did not take long. It was probably one of the easier ones to do. Definitely easier than the password because, you know, I was kind of know what I was looking for. I was looking for something out of the ordinary. With the password, I just thought, big pieces of paper, it means nothing. We then made our way into the submerged lab and logged into the computer, hoping to open everything we could, but we couldn't open up the biodome. And for some reason, we needed to reset the terminal, so we had to fight our way through a bunch of these robots, the Tazies and whatnot, to finally get to the control so we could reset it. And again, this was not simple. We had so many of these robots. These were shooting out big electric balls, and it was difficult. But we were finally able to get it open, and we now had the beautiful view at the big pond that killed me about 10 times. But we also had our second super chip. So now we had what Burgle needed to remember just a bit more and hopefully guide us in the right direction. So we analysed all our new stuff and then we set out on our way. We woke up nice and early on day 28, and again, we needed to make sure we improved all our stuff. We noticed we were very weak during all the fights that we had, so we went straight to the smithing station, upgraded all our armour and our weapon, just to make sure that we could at least keep up, you know, killing these at a decent rate. So we headed over to Burgle, gave him the super chip, and then he told us where the next one was. But, you know, we weren't heading there straight away. We needed to get strong, we needed to make sure we had a good place to live, and we needed to make sure we had the right equipment. So the next day was spent just gathering up grass, and we finally managed to get the roof done. This was going to protect us from anything that could come fly and kill us, mosquitoes, bees, you know, anything in the air. We did not want them messing with us. I didn't go for anything fancy with the base. I thought, you know what, there's no need. We don't need anything absolutely crazy. I'm happy with it just being basic, enough to protect us, and enough, you know, so we can work in it. Day 31, we're having another dream. This time, we're small, we're in a lab, we're in a different place. We've got scientists working on us. I mean, look at the size of them hands. We don't know what was going on, but we'll finally be able to piece it all together by the end of the 100 days. We're back out exploring, we're looking through caves, we're looking for new stuff, and we're finding raw science everywhere we go. And then we find another study station. We explored through the night into the morning trying to find cool new stuff, and we find a new creature called a larva. We did not mess with them. They killed us quick, but again, weevils were coming for you. We managed to find a paint bucket upside down. We climbed up it to see if we were going to find anything cool, and we didn't. But we found some weird creatures. Again, I'm telling you, around this infected area, there's so many creatures that do so many weird stuff, and they kill us quick. I mean, look how many times we die. Look how quick we die. Every time we tried to come get our stuff, we were just one-shotted instantly, and it just wrecked all our stuff. And I did not know what to do at this point. I thought, this is it, I've lost everything I had. But we were actually able to finally kill a mosquito. We managed to learn their attacks and block them at the right time, and we've got one. And we were now thinking, you know what, maybe this is something we can do. We can kill these and get away, until we ran into a stink bug. And yeah, it was a no-go. The next morning, we're waking up nice and early again. And you can see our equipment's damaged, our stuff's damaged. So we head underwater and we hunt a few more things, hoping to find maybe something we can use. And we actually find a sunken T-Rex right at the bottom of the pond in a new area we've not been. And I was thinking, this has got to have something cool round. It had a bunch of the koi scales. And this was going to be good because these could make extremely good armour for us. At the moment, we're using tier 1 armour. We were actually able to craft tier 2 armour, which, you know, massively improved everything that we had. We went from taking loads of damage to not too much damage, which is great. That's what we needed. But we ran back, we tried to get our bag again. It didn't go well. We tried pausing, thinking, is there a way we can figure this out? No. And every time we tried to get out, we died. But we got closer and closer each time. This time, I was thinking, this is it, this has got to be it. We've got to be able to finally get out of here. Lucky enough, we didn't take too much damage when we went down and got our bag, so we were able to run away, eat, and be smart about it. And grabbing that stink bug part meant that we were actually able to build our gas mask now, which was going to come in incredibly useful, so we can actually explore that area without taking damage. Day 36, we're back to analysing. Like I said, we're going to analyse everything and anything so we can increase our brain power. We're back underwater looking for koi scales because we wanted to build the chest armour for the koi set, but I didn't realise, you know, we're going to have to wait a few more days before we get that, so we're going to be a week, just a little bit more. But we finally looked into these scabs that we were collecting because, you know, they were new, they're not really something we paid, you know, any attention into, and it just changed the screen. So if you're wondering now why it's red, it's just purely because I put on a different scab. But we carried on with our exploring, and we made our way over to the big bench, and there was a bunch of bees and a honey pot, a big shovel. I mean, nothing too crazy, but we were wondering, how do we get up there? How do we get onto that table, and how do I get my fingers in that honey pot? We then discovered we could actually take off, like, the thorns off these, I don't even know what they're called. They're not like nettles, but we can take them off anyway, and they may be useful in the future. And then we found a way to climb to the upper yard, or the upper garden, you know. I'm not American, I'm just copying what it says on the screen. I don't call it a yard. But we build a couple of staircases so we can get up there nice and easy, because we're going to be making a lot of journeys to the upper part of the garden. You know, it's where the good stuff is at. It's where the important stuff is, and we're down near the bottom. But we found our way to a knocked over barbecue. There's hot coals on the floor. You know, it hurts us, but we ate enough food to manage to stay alive and make it through without dying. And we just carried on exploring, finding loads of raw science and new creatures that wanted to kill us. The more creatures we found in the upper part of the garden, the more I realised that we were not ready for any of this. You know, we were so undergeared. You know, we were still rocking tier 1 weapon. You know, we weren't ready. We weren't good enough. We could have been one-shotted by anything around this area. It was scary. But we found a knocked over bike, and we were able to climb up the bike to get to the shed. And on the shed, I mean, there was a bunch of the black ants. They weren't friendly like the red ants. The red worker ants were friendly. They'd give you a little look, but they would never hurt you. The black ones, they'd kill you. And me thinking, oh, I'll be able to jump and make it to the bike, I didn't. I jumped and died. It's alright, we're back to killing mosquitoes, because with their beaks, we were able to make a really good weapon, and we wanted that, because, you know what, this spear just wasn't cutting it for me. I needed something that was going to be able to kill enemies nice and quick, whilst also looking good, because, you know, if you look good, you feel good, you do good. Remember that. You know, it's not always about, you know, if the thing's good, you know, if it's just, you know, like a good weapon. If it doesn't look good, yeah, ain't worth it. But whilst we were exploring, we found these weird mix of modules, and we had no clue what they were, and then we walked onto a battery and then wondered why we died. I'm just going to say, I feel like I'm not very smart when it comes to this game. We died so many ways, so many times, just doing stupid stuff. It probably could have been avoided, but whose fault is that? Not mine. Anyway, we built a grinder, and with that we're able to use the spoiled meat that we have to make spoiled meat slurry, and with that we're able to attract animals that are in the air that can't, you know, that usually don't come down to the ground. And this was good because we needed that so we could kill gnats, and with the gnats we were able to, you know, get certain materials to build a bow. We finally killed our first spider, the big spider. We did it. It was hard, we used a lot of food, but we were able to get it done. And as we can see, we needed gnat fuzz. So we built ourselves a shield just for that bit of extra protection, and then we were set out trying to get everything we need so we can carry on progressing even further. Obviously we have to analyse the spider parts, and we can actually make clothing with it. I ain't going to be wearing spiders anytime soon. I ain't saying we don't later on, but you'll have to keep watching, and then you will see. We're back killing mosquitoes. You know, we need a few more beaks so we can make the mosquito needle. Oh, this weapon is amazing. It's got lifesteal on. It heals us a little bit when we attack animals. This is good. This is what we need. I mean, look at it. We're killing spiders straight away. Nice and easy. This, honestly, this weapon and the shield goes so well together, and I was just lucky enough to, you know, just use these because I like a quick weapon. But don't get me wrong, the spiders could still overwhelm you and still do a lot of damage, and it took a while to fight. I mean, this wasn't like a quick fight. These were like multiple minutes each fight, because it was a lot of running away, dodging, eating food, making sure I didn't die. But we're able to kill even new creatures that we've not killed before. The next day, we put down the meat slurry and started killing the gnats, but then a mosquito got involved, and I mean, like, why? Just leave me alone. You know, we're over and done with you now. But the gnats kept coming, and we kept killing them. We kept getting the fuzz that we needed, so we could build a gas mask, and we could build the bow later on. With a gas mask made, we're now able to explore into the poisonous area and not die. We were able to survive. So we built a second cooking station and got all our meat on there ready to go, thinking this was going to be the time. We were able to kill a stink bug for the first time, all because we had this gas mask on. You know, we were not taking damage for just being in the gas, and they didn't really do that much damage as it was. Like I said, we're back analysing, we're going to be doing a lot of it, we're going to analyse a lot of stuff, and we slept until the next day. We made our way into the poisonous area and saw a bunch of infected animals. You know, we didn't kill a lot of these, we tried to avoid them, and when we got to the next lab we realised we needed a bomb. So we had to look how to make a bomb and realise that we didn't have what we needed just yet. So we needed to kill a few of these animals so we can get bacterial growth before making our way to an anthill, because we needed ant eggs. That was very hard to get out. But, you know, we had a ladybug, we had a bunch of, you know, ants attacking us. This was a bit of a massive, you know, clusterfuck at this point. But lucky enough, with lifesteal, we're actually able to stay sort of at full health if we're just fighting simple things. But we were finally able to kill this ladybug. This was a long fight. We killed them, and then we made our way into the anthill to collect as many eggs as we could so we could make these bombs. My best advice is just to run through it. It's not worth fighting every ant. If you just run through, most of the time you can sort of get away with not having to fight any of the creatures. But we started upgrading our gas mask, our new weapons, just so they were a bit higher up, so the durability was higher, and also we were doing more damage and taking less. Then we analysed all our new stuff, and so we could make some new stuff now, but it just wasn't worth doing just yet. So we made the bombs, built a new storage thing because we had a full inventory, slept the night away, and then spent the next 5 days exploring the new lab. This was the maze lab. I don't get why it's called the maze lab, because, you know, we're in like a poisonous area, but there's no maze. But either way, we made our way in, and we decided to spend the next 5 days exploring, looking for the super chip. To be fair, this lab wasn't that bad. It was just a lot of going round, trying to find, you know, the way to open up doors or find our way through. It was a lot of back and forth, trying to avoid these things that were hurting us, and we kept walking into them, and we finally opened up the right doors so we could, you know, get further on. It was just, it wasn't difficult, it was just long, and it was, you know, a bit boring after a while. But as always, there was good loot, and we love loot. Loot is the best thing we can do. It means we don't have to get it ourselves. Don't get me wrong, a lot of these things I was picking up, there's probably a lot of lore behind it and stuff we could learn, but we just wasn't too bothered. But when we opened up this door, we saw there was an infected ladybug that we had to kill. This was difficult. This took a long time. As you can see, we do next to no damage. I mean, this was a long fight, and look at the eyes on this thing. This thing's crazy. It shot things at us, it did weird attacks, and yeah, it took a while. But we finally managed to kill it. It felt great. We collected all the resources off it, and then we made our way further into the lab, where we found the super chip and the super duper thing, so we could, you know, pretty much duplicate more stuff. So we made our way out, and we made our way back to Burgle so we could show him that we had the next super chip. And on the way we just did a little bit more exploring and went, you know, a different way around to see if there was anything new we could get. There wasn't anything too crazy. It was just, you know, we found another door that we couldn't access yet, and on the map this was showing us where the last super chip was, but we had no way of getting in there. It was confusing. I didn't know if that was the right way or the wrong way. It was just, you know, I couldn't really figure it out. But we decided this could be a good time to try out the gliding. It's not very good. I don't even know what you call them, but we were able to use, you know, some part of a plant. It's them ones that you could blow and it's supposed to tell you the time. Them things. Don't know what they're called, but, you know, we're able to float with them. I mean, I was hoping we could get further with it, but you don't get too far. But it's a cool way to just, you know, have a look at the map. We give Burgle the super chip, he's happy and he says, now we've got one more to do. But as we can see, we've opened up the science shop for the first time and realised there's actually stuff that we can make. There's new recipes and new things we can build, and I mean, I wasn't too bothered about a lot of them, but I just grabbed them like an acorn turret. I mean, it sounded cool, never used it. But we came home to see a bunch of ants in the house, but we just slept it off, we weren't messing about. But again, we're having dreams. And this time, we saw Director Schmechter. What a name. But he turns out to be the actual villain of this whole thing. He's the one that turned Dr. Wendell into a little man and trapped him in the garden. He's the one that shrunk us down, and he wanted to kill us. But lucky enough, someone had our back, and we will see that in the future. I mean, like, I'm a teenager. It's a bit weird that, you're just nicking kids and killing them, but each to their own. At this point, I really wanted to get the koi scale chest plates. We thought, you know what, let's use some of this raw science, and then let's duplicate some of these scales. And we were able to build the chest plate we wanted. We actually was able to put it to use for once. But on returning back, we had to kill the ants that were in our house. They were living there rent-free. I was cooking, I was doing everything that I needed to do, and they were just in the way. We built a new axe and put it to some use, and saw that we now could get a bunch of weed stems quite simple. And we used that to, just finish off the rest of the base. But we thought, are we ready now for these wolf spiders? No. Look how much damage we did with like 5 hits. Nothing. They poison you, they chase you down. I was not ready for these. And I think we killed 1 or 2 the whole series. These things were like next level hard. I avoided them like the plague. I mean, the poison killed me minutes after the fight. But we can kill ladybugs. Piece of cake. They were easy. When they started doing their big charge thing, you just got out the way. But we saw we needed berry leather. We needed this for a lot of stuff. And we saw we could make an embiggening cocktail. We didn't know what that was going to be used for, but we saw there was some ingredient we've not discovered yet. And this hopefully was going to be something we were able to discover in the future before the end of the 100 days. At this point, we sort of found our groove. We were killing stink bugs like it was no tomorrow. We were killing these hard-to-kill creatures quite simply. Well, except from the wolf spiders. I mean, we avoided them, but other than that, these orb weavers, we were doing in. We were not worried. We now were becoming indestructible. Unless it was the big scary spider. But still, we were strong. We didn't mess around. We were able to kill these. We was able to take damage. And we was not worried. But after getting a bunch of berries, we had enough to make the berry leather that we needed. But they are a pain getting these berries. I mean, they're either up the tree or they're in the water, and they're difficult to get because you've either got to shoot them down or throw something, or, do something daft. But again, the next day was just spent exploring, and we found some grubs and killed them because we'd never actually killed a grub before. So we found a bunch, dug them up, killed them, and see what we could do with it. And then we were finally able to make our tier 2 hammer, so we were now able to open up these tooths. And we were thinking, what can we do with these? Is it going to give us, some strength or something? And it turns out we could actually use these to increase our health, our hunger and thirst drain, the stamina, that they were quite useful. So every time we saw one, we were making sure that we were breaking it down and getting what we needed. We then went back to the mints that we discovered really early on, and we're able to break these now and collect the mints and then analyse them to see what we can do with them. What can I say? It was pretty mint. See what I did there? Pretty mint. Again, we found another tooth, or a milk molar is what they're called in this game. And I mean, it's weird that we're breaking open teeth and taking what's inside, but hey, whatever we need to grow stronger and die less. But don't worry, if you're enjoying the deaths, there is still plenty more. But now we were breaking down rotten apples, and we were breaking everything. Everything we saw that we could break, we were breaking. And we finally killed our first bee. These are actually quite simple to kill. They weren't, hard at all. They were easier than mosquitoes, and I felt kind of bad. It's kind of cute. I saw them and thought, I want one. I want to pet one. And then I made the mistake of trying to pet a roly-poly because this thing hurt. Yeah, no. I don't think I even killed one of these for the whole 100 days. These wrecked us. But we carried on exploring into the upper part of the garden, looking for new mobs, you know, new equipment we could find, even new materials, because this is the part that we've explored the least. And as it was getting dark, we decided to build a little lean-to so we could sleep the night away. We spent the next 3 days just exploring further. We climbed up this big wood plank to see that there was, you know, a whole new area that we've not been, and different stuff. We found an entrance to a lab that we've not been to, another field station, and the more we explored, the more we realised that we really are very small in this world. There is so much stuff that we have not been able to explore. But sadly, this door was broken. We could not get into it, and we did not know why. So hopefully we can get there in the future. We accidentally stumbled onto a termite nest. These things, they were annoying. These were probably the most annoying things I had to deal with, because they would just come at you really quick. They were not messing about. The soldiers were just rushing you every 5 seconds, but we managed to sort of run through and explore further up the big pile of wood there was, and even started seeing different spiders we've not seen before. Obviously we had to grab the tooth, and we had to make sure that we kept improving, and then we saw another wolf spider, but again, we just weren't messing with it. Them things are just scary. I don't like them. We ain't messing with them. My advice with them spiders is to always just run. It ain't worth it. We climbed to the top of the tarp and we explored to see what we can find, and we find some spicy sweets that we can break down and use in the future. And then again, we've got spiders on us, the big wolf spiders that we don't like. So we head for the big hole, which I probably shouldn't have done, but my brain was like, this is obviously going to be safe. It wasn't. This was a massive termite nest. Look how many there is. And they do not stop there. More and more start swarming us, and we just run through. We just avoid them all, we jump over them, and we just try and find a way out. I'm really surprised I didn't die at this point. I thought, this is it, I'm dying, I'm not making it through here, this is going to be death. But lucky enough, we were actually able to get through without dying through the whole termite nest. And we got a lot of raw science for doing it. The next 2 days are just nice, slow, taking a stroll back to our home, whilst doing a little bit of exploring around the area. There is something just nice though about this game, just being able to walk through a garden and, you know, being tiny and seeing everything, and you think, like, in real life, would it be like this? Would it be as, you know, as fun and, you know, as adventureful, or would it just be terrifying and you wouldn't want to move? Also in the UK, I think we would drown because of how much rain we get and stuff. Yeah, we wouldn't be surviving for long. Anyway, we head into the tree lab on day 71, and obviously we've got to analyse everything we found, because analysing to get that big brain is what we do. And we actually, for once, get something that's a massive upgrade, a tier 3 axe. We can't craft it yet, but at least we know how to make it now. And then we finally make a bow, because, you know what, I've been wanting one of these for a while but never made one. The next day, we're back to hunting weevils. I mean, we got rid of the population like there was no tomorrow. We made sure all of them was gone. We needed food, we needed to prepare the shield, and weevils are just the best way for it. I feel like the food's a lot better than the other amphid or whatever the little green ones are. But we spend the while cooking and getting all the food ready so that we've got enough stuff for when we go out exploring and trying to find the next bases, and we increase our health and our stamina again. We actually find a rock that needs exploding, and it's something that we've not discovered before, so we blow it up and then get jumped by a stink bug. So we have to deal with that quickly before we go into the cave and have a look what was inside. The amount of stuff I probably missed during my 100 days is unreal. When you finish the game, it tells you that, you know, you've missed certain stuff or there's different things you could have done, and I feel like I missed so much. There's different, you know, outcomes and different endings for different stuff you find. You know, the more you explore and the more you find and the more you look into it, the more stuff you actually discover and the different ending you get. So I feel like 200 days would be enough to fully do this game, but I couldn't do it to myself. By the end of the 100 days, I was done. I died so much. I spent hours searching, trying to finish it, killing these creatures, trying to find certain stuff. It was difficult. It was hard. So day 74, we're looking at the map and we're looking, this is where the final super tech chip is, and we're thinking, that must be the door that we couldn't get into, but there's got to be a way. Have we now unlocked it? Is it possible for us to get in there now? Because there's something we've got to be able to do. We've got to be able to get a way in there because it's the last chip we need, and we had no, no way of knowing where to go. So obviously we have to make our way through the gas area, the poisonous, weird area, and we're actually able to find the crow feather, and we're able to harvest it. I mean, we saw them, beginning, early days in, and we weren't able to do anything with it. But, we do a little bit of exploring around this area thinking, is there like a different passage that we've not seen? Is it up here? Is there a different way in that we just don't know about? And there was nothing to find. And I was stupid enough to try it with a wolf spider again. And no matter what, I think I could have the best, equipment in the game. These wolf spiders are too difficult. And again, you guessed it, I end up dying. But it's okay, day 77, we wake up nice and early and we make our way back. We float our way to our bag, we grab it and we get out of there as fast as we could. But it was really not that easy. I did not know how to get out. I was jumping up the walls, panicking, thinking this is not good, we're going to die again. I don't want to die. I am sick of it. I thought we were past dying at this point, but no, we were still dying. But we're able to fight off as many of these infected larvae as we can, and then the spider comes, and look how close he is. Boom, we finally did him. That took so long. We were weak, we were poisoned. I did not think we were going to make it, but we were finally able to do it. And we actually got some venom off them, and we were able to analyse that, and we can now make a bed. I mean, we'd be screwed if we didn't have that lean-to where we've been sleeping for the majority of the time. But whilst we're in the tree lab, we decide to, go through the broken window and explore a little bit further into the tree. And we actually see there's a bit of a tunnel, a 242. And this actually links up to the original anthill you can find. But we go through, collect everything we see, and we make our way back into the main building of the tree lab and carry on with the rest of our day. Day 79, we're back at the anthill. We're thinking, you know what, we could maybe do with a few bombs. This could be useful. Maybe we can use these for something useful. And I remember seeing the big rock that was able to get blown up next to the shovel, next to the bench. Are we able to do that and then get on top of the bench to go see the honey pot that the bees are all floating around? And that seems like a smart idea. So we get an early night, ready for our big adventure the next couple of days. We make our way over to the big bench and we get ready to make our ascent. The journey over there was quite easy as always. I mean, we now knew this place like the back of our hand. We were able to go over there, and anytime we got attacked, we either just killed the creature nice and quick, or we just ignored it. But we blew up the rock. We actually nearly got squished by the big shovel. I thought this was it. I thought, game over. I'm now going to kill myself that way. But lucky enough, we didn't. We climbed up there and made our way to the bench. And as you can see, there's a lot of food over here. There's a crow feather, there's banana skins. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to harvest, but we don't harvest too much right now because we do need better equipment. But we have to make our way across this beam and we get attacked by bees. For some reason, they're hostile in this area. I don't know if it's because we're near the honey or they're just, knobheads because I killed a bee not so long ago, but yeah, we have to get rid of them. We have to do them in, and we managed to knock down the cooler box handle so we can climb up to the top part. And there's actually like a weird maze on top of here. And at first I thought, let's do this maze properly. Let's get to the end. This will be loads of fun. This is what I've been wanting. And I thought, you know what, I'm bored already. Let's just cheese the system and let's just climb over the wall and find the exit. And there we are, straight to the end, and there's a chest. We need a key for it. Don't know where the key is, but I was thinking, I'm not going to go for it. I ain't going to spend my time trying to find a key. But this time we find a zip line into the sandbox. So we link it up and realise we actually need some of the silk rope. We need 12 of it. So we have to make our way back to the base, get the silk rope, and then come back so that we can zip line into the sandbox. Once we're back home, we set up the production of the silk rope, and we even build a second spinning wheel because, we're going to need quite a bit of it. So we get that made, and then we're heading back to the table. We're climbing back up, and we're ready to mess up any bees we see before we build the zip line and zip line our way into the sand pit. You know what, I should have been a bit smarter at this point. I should have thought, you know what, the sand might be hot, but I didn't realise it was going to be, so we just sort of ran away through, jumping about, hoping to get through. And we found an outpost, but we couldn't get in there without the assistant manager's keycard. And we didn't know what this was at this point. It will become sort of, relevant in a few days' time. But we discover another field station. We find some more, lore, but we're not too bothered. But before we find another tunnel, and we head our way down, and we actually find the Black Ant Hill lab. So lucky enough, this is the final lab we needed to progress the story and get the last chip. So we make our way through, following the power cables, following the lights, until we find the entrance. I think we're quite lucky that we made an excess of bombs, because we needed quite a few of these to break open a lot of the doors. Again, we're greeted by the robots. These things were just annoying. I mean, they were quite easy to kill, but I just did not want to deal with them. But we were able to give ourselves access to further into the lab, so we could progress even further and carry on finding our way through it so we can get this chip. Obviously, we've got to grab as much loot as we can and kill all the robots. And don't get me wrong, there's probably so much hidden stuff that I missed, but there was just so much to try and figure out and try and find, as well as, having been attacked by robots and ants and God knows what. But we were feeling confident at this point. We were ready to find this last chip, get ready to go and discover what we needed to do to get back to being a full-size human, get back to our normal life, and get back to our World of Warcraft raids. After granting ourselves access to the Sector B of the lab, we were able to progress even further, and we actually came up against our first I would say, boss in this area. I mean, the infected ladybug in the last one, it was a boss, but I wouldn't say it was too difficult. It was quite easy to cheese. It just sort of stood behind, any bit of material that was in front of, and it couldn't hurt you. But this time, we actually had to kill something that was quite difficult, the assistant manager. This robot would fire out electric, and then lasers would start firing. I mean, this was quite difficult, as well as having ants attack at the same time. But lucky enough, obviously, we built the bow, and we sort of just, used range the whole time. This was a very, very long fight. This was, this was not something that, took a short amount of time. This was a while. And when we finally did it, oh my god, the relief. I was like, we've done it. We've finally done this, and we now had the assistant manager's key card, and that meant we had possibilities to explore even further. But look at this, the final super chip. We've done it. We can now return back, give it to Burgle, and find out what we need to do to get back to being a full-size human. So day 91 was spent travelling back through the dark, early morning, through all the poisonous area, trying to get back safely without dying. Our equipment was damaged, our armour wasn't looking good. We needed some time to just relax and get back to full health, full durability of our armour, and try and get back to a good place. But we finally made it back home where we could dump everything we had and go talk to Burgle. But we slept before we did that, and we awoke to analysing more stuff. Obviously, this is, important. We've got to analyse everything we find to get the brain power up. We let Burgle know we had found the last super chip, and he was buzzing. But now he told us we need to go find Dr. Wendell's scab, and that would give us exactly what we need to get back to being a human. And we had to go find his favourite chair in the garden that was at the shed. We had been close to it before, but we'd never fully been, at that sort of area. We climbed up, but we sort of fell off. So we found the chair and we made our way over there. On the way, we actually found some salt cluster, and this would become useful because you're able to make salt arrows, and we were able to kill, some of the harder creatures quite easily because they didn't like salt. But on our way up, things were going well. We were making good time. What can go wrong? I fell through the hole. Why? Why did I fall through the hole? But anyway, we're back up. We're climbing the baseball bat. We're nearly there. And I'm thinking, this is it. I can see it. How do we make it across? Have we got to jump? No, you don't jump. I am stupid. With all our equipment breaking, running out of food, and, being in dire need of fixing stuff, we decide it is now time to improve our axe, as well as making the crossbow, because the bow just wasn't cutting it, and the crossbow is a lot better. So we gather everything we need, so we can get on this adventure and finish our story of being a tiny human in the garden for 100 days. We decide before we finish we should get the tier 3 hammer, as well as improving our armour. So we make the spider hood, and look how great we look. We've got a dead spider on our head, as well as making the black ant leg plates. So now, yes, we did have a mixed set of armour, but if you saw at the bottom, the amount of buff we have are unreal. But we're having it. We've got another dream going on. This time it shows that the scientists, they didn't want to do what the director was doing. They didn't want to kill us. They wanted us to survive. They did not agree with what was going on. So they were actually the ones that brought us to the garden and left us there. With this information in hand and our new equipment, we made our way back to the shed. We were determined to get to Dr. Wendell's scab and get out of this horrible garden. But the adventure was not over yet. We had to kill one of these black ox beetles. We needed part of it so we could make the tier 3 hammer. This was not easy. I mean, we were fighting this thing for ages. Look how much damage it does in one hit. And this thing, like the arrows, it would just, you know, eat the arrows like it was nothing. And then we got attacked by a second one at the same time. This was not great. The salt arrows helped, but it was just not good enough. We had, you know, different things attacking us. We were finally able to kill one, and we ran as fast as we could. And then whilst we were running, we found some pupa, and we were able to turn them into leather, which was going to be useful in the future. So we killed a few more of these black ox beetles now that, you know, we knew what we were doing, and we made our way back home. The next morning we see that we need some pupa leather. So what we do, we create some and realise we haven't got enough, so we duplicate it because we are smart and we have a lot of raw science available. So now we're able to make the new black ox hammer. So now we have the tier 3 axe, the tier 3 hammer, and we were looking quite good. We rushed over back to the shed because now we had a smart idea how to make it from the chair to the table without dying. We were going to use the floaty things again. I don't know what they're called. The floaty things. If you actually know what they're called, do let me know, because I don't know. I'd always just call them the things that you blow and they tell you the time. I don't think they actually tell you the time. But that's what I got told. Okay, that's me. But we float our way over there, and we head to the scab. We have to break the back open, replace the fuse, and we are good to go. We will be able to find where Dr. Wendell is. Once we power the scab on, it lets us know where he is, and we realise he's actually underneath the shed. But before we head there, we've got to do one of the most disgusting things. Harvest his toenails. I mean, come on now. I would rather kill spiders. I would rather be eaten by them than have to deal with that. Disgusting. Find a lab underneath the shed that we never knew was here. It was hidden well, and inside there was a lot of resources, but that isn't what we were here for. We were here to find Dr. Wendell and find a way home. Whilst making our way underneath the shed, we saw a lot of stuff that would want to kill us, and I'm happy I am not down there and we were able to avoid it. But there was a big sinkhole, and all we had to do was make our way down and into the big hole, where it was clear there was going to be a spider, but we just ran through. We saw Black Widowling. If there's a Black Widow in there, I do not know. I just ran. I ignored all of it. But we found the lab that we were looking for. We made our way in, and we tried to find Dr. Tully. If you've been thinking, how come you've been calling him Dr. Wendell? His name's Wendell Tully. I just prefer Dr. Wendell. But, you know, we discover the Undershed lab, we find a few strange machines, and we make our way through. But, you know, this isn't the strangest part. What we discover later on is worrying. We come across our first fire ant, but lucky enough for us, he did not want to leave that room. All he wanted to do was stand there and get shot. I mean, that works for me. I ain't bothered. I will just stand there and shoot you all day long, my friend. So after a bit more perusing around the lab, we're looking into some weird rooms. We don't know what's going on. I mean, this Dr. Tully, I don't know what he's made, but he's starting to scare me a little bit. He's starting to freak me out. I mean, he's supposed to be the good guy here, and look at that abomination, which we end up having to fight. I tried to cheese it, shooting it through the hole, it wasn't having it. But no, we had to make our way through. I tried dropping a bomb thinking I'm smart. Didn't work out. So we just pretty much had to run round in circles and spend 10 minutes shooting him with arrows that did next to no damage, whilst he also called down ants to fight me. I wouldn't say this was harder than the assistant manager. The assistant manager was definitely more difficult. This one was just longer and a lot more boring. I mean, this man's got like double the health. But like I said, just running around in circles was the way to deal with it. He didn't really do much. He wasn't quick, he was very slow, and we were able to, you know, kill him, get raw science, and make our way out of that room. With that, we were able to delve further into the lab, and we were finally able to find who we've been looking for all this time. Obviously, he thought we were bad. We thought we were not there to help him, but we were. We were here to be sound. We were here to help. Oh my god, what is that? He's like a raisin in a jar. I mean, I don't want to say he looks like a testicle, but he kind of does. He just looks like a testicle in a jar. A floating testicle in a jar. But he tells us, I can get you home, don't worry, we will get you back to being normal. But he sends us on our way to get some grilled science, and yeah, lucky enough it's in the other room. I thought, I am not going and finding how to do this, but lucky enough it was just there, and he said he was going to follow us to the coffee machine, where we'd be able to make the cocktail to make us back to the fully sized teenager, adult, I don't know, we're like 14 or something. But day 99, we are getting close now. We are getting close to the 100-day mark, and we have to make our way over to the coffee machine and see what we need so we can return back to our normal size. And this was annoying. I was like, right, we need to get in there. We haven't got a bomb. We wasted our last bomb on the boss. So now we need to go back home, make a new bomb, get everything for the big and beginning cocktail, so that we can get back to being full-sized. Lucky for us, the journey home isn't too long from where we was, and we see that we've got everything we need, just not the right amounts. So we jump into the lake, see if we can find some more koi scales before going to the duplication machine and just duplicating everything that we need. So after realising we had everything we needed to make the embiggening cocktail, we decided we need to go get some eggs so we can make the bomb. So we make our way into the anthill again, and lucky enough, we did only needed one bomb because there was not many eggs there. But you know, we had everything. I didn't know how to make this. I was like, oh god, is there a certain way? But lucky enough, you just need the ingredients. And it doesn't tell you this now, but once you get back to the machine, it tells you, which is good. But we make our way back, so we can get everything put into the machine, so we can get it all ready to go. And obviously we've got to climb our way through power cables and make our way up, and it's not the easiest place to get to, and you know, there's so many things trying to kill us, but we're able to break open the machine and put down the embiggening cocktail cell thing that we need so we can get everything ready to go. We then have to climb to the top of the coffee pot where there's a pencil sharpener, and we're able to put in all the ingredients, and that will grind it all down for us and put it into the cell. The climb up wasn't too difficult. There's wires all leading there, so it was quite easy to put everything in, head down, go to the calculator and turn it on, ready to go. We were excited for this, but it went wrong. I mean, who would have saw that coming? There isn't enough power. It turns out the director has got ants working for him, and they've been able to break the machines we need. So we have to repair them, and we have to defend them so that they don't break it anymore. Day 100, we start the repair. We get everything back to 100% health and ready to go. And then we turn back on the machine. And now we have to defend it with our lives. To be fair, I didn't know how hard this was going to be, and at the beginning it wasn't too difficult. It was just a bunch of ants, and then the occasional ladybug, and you know, a few things. It wasn't too difficult. It was towards the end where I wasn't paying much attention, where if you look at C, we were so close to losing it. But that was it. It was made. The cell was made. we were able to grab it and make our way back to the original machine that we found on day 1. We were able to place the cell inside and get it ready so we could go home. I've been the Great Dane. I do really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what series you want to see next. I will not be returning to Grounded. I've done 100 days and that is us finished. We did everything we could do and we made it back home, and that is the main thing. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you for all the love, thank you for the growth, and I do really hope you have a good Christmas if you're watching this before Christmas.
That was the end of the tiny adventure of a lifetime. At least that's what the local papers called it. It's hard to believe how much has happened since then. Pete, Max, Willow, and Hoops tried to tell everyone what had happened, but without evidence, no one believed them. No, instead, people heralded Ominent's amazing new invention, a shrinking machine, and everyone learned the name of the one behind it all, Director Dalton Schmechter. It didn't end there. The world found out about me, about the raisoning, and I had to disappear and hide away, which meant all I could do was watch as Schmechter took credit for everything that I had achieved. The kids tried to get back to their normal lives as best they could. Burgle has been keeping an eye on them in my stead, joining their science and robotics club. They made him the mascot, but they didn't tell him that part. I can't help thinking that there was more I could have done with my time in the yard. That said, I have my wife, my family, and I can continue my research, such that it is trying to make the most of what little time that I have remaining.